to the fireside chat titled Evolving Supply Chain Logistics with E-commerce in the Packaging Industry. And it's my pleasure to welcome and introduce Amit Kale, Assistant Vice President, Packaging and Purchase, Reliance Retail. This session will be anchored and moderated by Himanshu Watts, Senior Editor, Economic Times.
Uh, Welcome, everybody. A fascinating topic, the growth and the expansion and the importance of the packaging industry. And outside the industrial and specialist forum, one doesn't get to hear, informed, knowledgeable discussion or opinion on it. We've got two very well informed, motivated specialists with us. Can I begin with Amit Kale? The most recent experience in packaging, and as I mentioned earlier also, has been what happened after COVID. So can you take us through, how the industry has been through this period, what has changed, what should the consumers be seeking?
Thanks a lot, Himanshu, and it was a very insightful opening that you made about plastic in packaging. But if you look at overall, all packaging is called the inevitable evil. So, but we'll have to live with it. Talking about COVID times, I think yes, packaging has been evolving since, right from the industrial revolution till now, Industry 4.0. It is evolving every day, every moment. Yes, with COVID, what has happened is now, since most of the people today are buying online, so it has given a boost to packaging in terms of, like you rightly said, even the vegetables are now packed, and now we have to look at increasing the shelf life of all F&B, fruits and vegetables, and we have to ensure that they are delivered to the customer at the doorstep with a fresh condition. So with this particular problem or challenge that we have on hand today, the world is facing, packaging is playing the most important and most critical role of demonstrating a product which is not touched by hand, or which is safe for consumption. So that is what is perceived today, and more and more people are now going in for a packaged product than to a loose product, even in terms of food and food.
Okay, that's very interesting. Amit, are you seeing such trends in packaging industry outside pharma also?
Yes, for rightly, like you mentioned about fruits and vegetables, so there are temperature indicators, so they can tell you at what temperature the product has gone through, or whether this fruit or this vegetable is still fresh enough for you to consume. So there are indicators on the packaging, a label, which can tell you whether the food is good for you to consume or not. So those things are happening because people are now reluctant to go to malls, or in the West, people don't have time to go to malls, and in India now, because of the situation, people are not going to malls. So everyone needs everything to be delivered at their doorstep. So right at the doorstep, they can check whether the product is fresh or not, and they can rather accept it or reject it then and there. So those kind of things are happening. So yes, packaging is evolving, and it will evolve.
So when it evolves in this direction, it is, seems to be getting pretty high tech. I would expect major large companies to be getting into it. Whereas in India, it's a very fragmented industry. There are some established, well-known players, but what about the real big ones? What about your own companies? To the two panelists, Amit,
I think Himanshu, your question was whether big companies will be entering into packaging sector, right? So there is there is a make and buy decision that we need to make, whether it is easier or comfortable to buy packaging directly from the already existing packaging suppliers, or whether to make it. So if you look at ITC, which started as a packaging company, rather as a cigarette company, and then they went back, and then they started manufacturing cartons, printing cartons, and then they did further backward integration into making paper, and now they are making forward integration in having a product. So I think that is the company which was there as a FMCG or a consumer product company, which went into packaging. And there are few other companies which are also doing this, but I think most of it is forward integration. So somebody who has, unlike ITC, which had a consumer good company and which went into packaging. But most of the companies which are doing packaging, they have grown so much so that now they are entering into food or sometimes into pharma business as well. So that has
Okay.
also happened.
Okay, but in terms of backward integration, I think you work for a company which has done amazing backward integration.
I would say diversification. We have not done actually a backward integration, yes, but we are
Uh, uh,
diversifying.
uh, no,
So for
I'm talking of your parent company.
now into FMCG products, we have a private label brand, and we are now
Mhm.
into like Mr. Avinash said, we are entered into NetMed. But it's like yes, it's basically diversification. So we are into
Okay.
pharma, we are into retail, we are into mobile handset, geo, barring the parent company which is manufacturing polymers basically.
Mhm.
So yes, we are there, but I don't see we are entering into manufacturing of flexible packaging or a rigid packaging immediately. Many companies which are doing rigid and flexible packaging, which are now trying to enter the food space or the FMCG space. That is seen, yes.
Okay. So we're going to have a lot of investment and action in the sector,
Yeah,
I hope.
even foreign companies now, a lot of consolidation is also started happening. A lot of companies are, if you look at PPL, so PPL acquired so many companies, Positive Packaging, and then it was acquired by Huhtamaki. So a lot of acquisitions are also taking place. So a lot of consolidation is happening. So I think the European and American companies are looking at India, and they are now.
Let me turn to the sustainability issue now, which I briefly mentioned in my opening remarks. Uh, and I think Amit put it very well. It's a necessary evil, uh, but it is an evil generally perceived to be. And globally, if you see the the clout of the green movement is increasing massively, and I think at some stage the packaging industry would face a challenge. While industry likes to get on with its business, source its raw material, sell its product, make its profit. But these are kind of things when they hit very hard. What is the industry doing about it to prepare for it? Is there a solution to balance things, Amit?
Yeah, so I always say this, the key to future is sustainability and innovation. So basically, sustainability is something which we want to leave for the next generation to come. So it has to be a circular economy. But when you talk about packaging per se, see, our CEO once said, so packaging is not basically spoiling the environment. It is only helping all of us to spoil the environment. So it's basically, since there is lack of discipline in terms of disposal of this packaging, uh, which is causing the environmental havoc today. It is not the packaging directly. If it is
Yeah.
brought, yeah, if all the packaging that is consumed is brought to a recycler, I'm sure it can be easily recycled. Even Reliance, we have started the manufacture of PET recycling products in India. So we are doing it, and but only problem is it has to come back to us. Today our houses we have one rubbish bin, and we try to put everything inside, all dry, wet. Now, yes, government has said okay, you should now put dry and wet separately so that it can be segregated easily. Additionally, India, if I always say in my talks also that if there was a gold medal for recyclability, it would surely go to India. Even today, we have this culture of collecting paper waste. Whatever Times of India, Economic Times we used to get in our house, so we used to collect it and give it back to a scrap dealer, and then it was value. Even the PET bottles, even the glass bottles. So these are all. India has a culture of recycling. We are having that culture of recycling, which is probably lost in last 2 3 years. Uh, so I don't think we are very far from this kind of collection system because it is there in our genes. So if we fall back again to our roots, probably we will be able to be more sustainable. Even India is far ahead in terms of recycling if you compare it with America or any other Western country, because we have a culture of recycling. And I think government should focus on this aspect first rather than putting a ban or stopping somebody from using this packaging. It will be disastrous because just because there is a lot of pollution caused by cars we cannot stop using petrol or diesel, right? We cannot fall back to the bullock cart era. So since we have, it's a plastic is the best innovation in past 80 years that has happened. And just by banning plastic is not the right path. I think government needs to restrict the usage of plastic in terms of, or not only plastic, but in terms of packaging. So they should make it mandatory that certain things only should be there on the packaging. And because nowadays, with the advent of this culture of malls, people can look and feel the product. So there is a lot of things that has gone into the product just to in the packaging just to attract the consumer. So I think which is not needed. For example, a laminated monocarton, a metallized laminated monocarton is probably not needed for the shelf life extension of that product, but it is just there to attract the consumer. So I think their government should focus and try to restrict the use of all packaging only to extend the shelf life. And there should be norms, guidelines on marketing, so that everyone falls in place and everyone has the same kind of marketing approach, and the product will differentiate itself. So something of that kind, rather than putting a blanket ban and by saying we need to be sustainable on packaging, that is not going to happen. I think what we need to do is first we need to have a good solid waste management system, and second we need to have a restriction on what is needed in terms of shelf life extending and what is there to just to attract the consumer. I think that distinguishes.
Okay.
If government is able to do, then probably yes, we are on the right track.
Give the last question to Amit. Share with us your view, say 5 years from now, how will packaging be different? It seems to be a rapidly changing, evolving industry. What's your look ahead?
True. As I said, till revolution, till industry 4.0, packaging has evolved. And going forward, more artificial intelligence will be brought into packaging. And I also once said, maybe there will be a day where all the packaging will look the same with a small QR code. And you can actually go with your mobile phone and scan, and the advertisement pops up, and then you can decide then and there, this is a good product if you have to buy or not. So pieces they are saying, okay, this is biodegradable, but probably it is biodegradable only when certain kind of microbes are present in that kind of atmosphere, which will biodegrade that particular material. Because otherwise, if it is general biodegradable, it will biodegrade on the shelf, right? So that is something which is okay. It's a good marketing gimmick to call something biodegradable. But what we need to do is going forward, a lot of inks, which today we are using, whether it is for paper or plastic, these are harmful chemicals, and they get absorbed in the soil. Even if you are putting a biodegradable or only a paper where this ink is, present, when the paper degrades, the ink is still there, which gets absorbed in the soil. So yes, going forward with artificial intelligence, I think we will have intelligent packages which will probably pop up, or tell you what the product can offer by maybe just scanning it through a mobile phone. That is what I think we are moving towards slowly with all the sustainable initiatives. And I think that this is where we will be from 5 years from now, or maybe not even 5, maybe 2-3 years from now, we will see this happening, where all the package looks same and we probably has just a brand name, and then we go, and if we are interested, we scan it, and then it tells you about the product. Maybe this is what is tomorrow.
That's absolutely fascinating. Many people don't realize what an exciting industry this is. What are the innovations coming? It's there in our homes. It's there in our offices. I'd like to thank both of you for giving such good insights and fantastic information, anecdotes about various companies. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Himanshu. And it was really a pleasure understanding the in-depth knowledge you have gathered for the packaging industry. And it was really a nice interaction with you. And thanks a lot, Avinash ji, for giving so much information about what is happening today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. It indeed is a very, very exciting industry. Thank you, Amit.